Introduction. The communication radio system consists of two VHF radios. A third VHF and/or HF radios are available as customer options. The radio tuning units, or RTU, are the primary radio controllers for the VHF COM transceivers. RTU-1 monitors and controls COM-1 and the optional COM-3 when installed. RTU-2 monitors and controls COM-2. The backup tuning unit provides reversionary control of COM-1 and NAV-1 radios in the event of total loss of AC power or failure of both RTUs. The audio output of each radio is monitored at the ACP. The backup tuning unit provides control of COM-1 and NAV-1 when normal electrical power is lost. The radio tuning units are CRT-based controllers and provide centralized control and display for the VHF communication radios, VHF navigation radios, ADF radios, ATC transponders, TCAS, optional COM-3 radio. There are no on-off switches. The communication and navigational systems are automatically energized when electrical power is applied to the aircraft. RTU lighting adjustment. The bright knobs, in conjunction with the display control knob, adjust the RTU lighting intensity. The bright knobs set the minimum intensity on each RTU, and the display knob adjusts the final viewing intensity of both RTUs. Frequency select knobs. The frequency select knobs change the frequency that is displayed in the tuning window. Two concentric knobs are provided. The outer knob changes the selected frequency to the left of the decimal place in 1 MHz steps. The inner knob changes the frequency to the right of the decimal place in 25 kHz steps. Line keys. The 8 line keys serve to activate different functions depending on the page that is displayed. RTU data presentation. Communication and navigation data is presented on two display pages. The top page lists the communication and navigation systems and allows the operator to make basic changes to the radio or system setup. The main pages are dedicated to a particular communication or navigational system and allow for changing of frequency, codes, and operating modes. Top page. The top page displays all the communication and navigational systems and allows the pilot to change frequencies. The RTU and radio systems have an on-side relationship. RTU-1 displays the systems that are identified as number 1, such as COM-1, NAV-1, and ADF-1. RTU-2 displays the number 2 systems. This on-side relationship is the normal presentation and is white in color. The RTU top page is the default page. When the RTU display is left on the main page, the presentation automatically returns to the top page if no RTU entry is made during the preceding 20 seconds. Frequency selection. The COM and NAV data fields are capable of displaying 3 distinct frequency presentation modes: preset, active, and recall. The left side of the COM field displays the active frequency. Active frequencies are presented in green. The right side of the field is capable of presenting the preset or recall frequencies. Preset mode allows the pilot to store and display a new frequency within the RTU without activating it. Active mode is the frequency that is currently in use. Recall mode is the last active frequency used. When presetting a new frequency, the right line key associated with the communication radio is pressed, and a white tune window appears on the right side of the field. The frequency select knobs are used to change the digital readout inside the tune window. When the right line key is pressed again, the preset frequency transfers to the active field. The previous active frequency is transferred to the right side of the COM field, relabeled Recall, and is available for use as a reference if required. When transmitting on the COM radios, a transmit message appears below the active frequency. The tune window does not stay in the selected position. 20 seconds after moving the tune window to the new position, and when no new entries are made, the tune window defaults to the upper right position of the RTU. Main page. The main pages are dedicated to a single communication or navigation system. Main pages are provided for the navigation radios, ADF radios, ATC transponders, and TCAS. These pages are covered in the navigation module. COM1, COM2, and COM3 optional main pages are identical in appearance and operation. To access the COM main page, the left line key is pressed to move the tune window to the active line of the applicable system. Press the line key again, and the main page appears. Squelch selection. On the COM main page, the line keys can be used to change the radio frequency or squelch setting. The cyan active setting is presented as the largest of the fonts. Squelch on is the default setting. To select squelch off, the associated line key is pressed. With the squelch selected off, the squelch off message is present on the top page to remind the pilot of the new mode of operation. A return line key allows the pilot to return to the top page. With the main page in view, the RTU automatically returns to the top page if no entries are made on the main page within 20 seconds. VHF navigation receivers. Two VHF navigation receivers, NAV1 and NAV2, provide VOR, localizer, glide slope, and marker beacon signals to the navigation systems and flight crew. A DME hold feature is provided. NAV1 and NAV2 tuning and mode selections are made at the RTU. NAV frequencies can be monitored at the audio control panel. VHF navigation operation is discussed in detail in the navigation module. ADF receivers. Two ADF receivers, ADF1 and ADF2, provide relative bearings between the aircraft and selected ground stations. Frequency tuning and ADF mode selections are accomplished at the radio tuning units. The selected frequencies can be monitored at the audio control panels. Automatic direction finder operation is discussed in detail in the navigation module. ATC transponders. The CRJ is equipped with two ATC transponders. They are controlled from the ATC selector switch. An ident button is provided. When squawking ident, an ID message appears on the top page below the ATC code for 20 seconds. TCAS. The traffic collision avoidance system is controlled and tested at the RTUs. ATC transponder and TCAS are discussed in detail in the navigation module. Cross-side tuning. As previously stated, the RTUs are normally set to operate in the on-side configuration. RTU 1 controls the number 1 radios. RTU 2 controls the number 2 radios. Cross-side operation allows a pilot to reproduce data from the other pilot's radios and present that data on their own RTU. The 1-2 key enables the cross-side configuration. For example, when the co-pilot's 1-2 key is pressed, RTU 2's top page presentation is changed to display the number 1 system data. Cross-side RTU information is amber. When cross-side information is presented, the cross-side radio's frequencies and main page settings can be changed. When the cross-side function is completed, pushing the 1-2 switch returns the RTU to the normal on-side display. RTU reversionary control. If an RTU fails, its display and control functions can be transferred to the other operable RTU. The transfer of functions is accomplished in 2 steps. The first step is to redirect the data input from the failed RTU to the operable controller. This is accomplished by selecting the RTU inhibit switch associated with the failed unit. Accessing the information is performed by using the 1-2 cross-side key on the serviceable RTU. Not all communication and navigation radios can be presented at the same time, but the radios are still available for use. Access to the radios is gained by switching back and forth with the 1-2 key. Backup tuning unit. COM1, NAV1, and the backup tuning unit are all powered directly from the battery bus and constitute the emergency radio system. The backup tuning unit enables reversionary operation of COM1 or NAV1. During normal operations, the backup tuning unit is selected to standby. In the standby position, the backup tuning unit frequencies duplicate the COM1 and NAV1 frequencies set by the RTU. Should both RTU1 and RTU2 fail, or a complete loss of all AC power occur, not all radios are lost. COM1 and NAV1 radios remain operable and are controlled by the backup tuning unit. To activate the backup tuning unit, the mode selector is moved from standby to on. Changing radio frequencies is accomplished with the COM-NAV selector and the frequency selector knobs. FMS Tune Inhibit Switch. The Integrated Avionics Processing System, IAPS, integrates control of the COM, NAV, and ADF radio systems with the Flight Management System, or FMS. During some phases of flight, the FMS is assigned control of the VHF navigational radios and automatically changes the frequency on an as-required basis. The FMS Control Display Unit, or CDU, is also capable of acting as a remote tuner for communication and navigation radios. The FMS Tune Inhibit switch, when selected to inhibit, prevents the auto-tune function of the FMS. Cell Call System Description and Operation. The optional cell call system allows the crew to maintain continuous radio watch with a ground facility without the burden of listening to the assigned radio. The selective calling, or cell call system, monitors the pre-assigned cell call VHF or HF frequency. Each cell call-equipped aircraft is assigned its own 4-letter cell call code. When the ground station wants to talk to the aircraft, they transmit the aircraft's assigned cell call code. When the VHF or HF radio receives the code, the cell call decoder sends a signal to the DCU to display an ICAS advisory message. The advisory message identifies which of the VHF or HF systems received the message. An oral cell call message is sounded to alert the crew. The cell call message on ICAS is removed from view when the RT switch is activated for the VHF or HF system that received the message.